All right, it's Ron Goodall from FightHype.com. I'm here with the funnest and best trainer out here, Bill Haney. How's it going?
Hey, man, thank you, Ron. You dig what I'm saying? From Fight Hype, you know what I mean? And thank you always for having me. What you think about what we've been doing, man?
Man.
How'd you like that work today?
Devin always looks great. I think simply the fact that, when it comes to boxing, it's more than skill. It's the dedication and always being in the gym.
Yeah.
It's almost like I can just come in here and you guys are always in here, so I don't have to even ask if you guys are going to be at the gym.
Oh, absolutely. We're ready. We're ready to go.
Just seeing the fact that there's so many things that people want to know about a potential upcoming fight with, Devin and Lomachenko. How close are we getting towards that fight happening?
We're in the gym. We're working. We're working, getting ready for Southpaw. So hopefully, we can iron out this thing and get an announcement soon.
Obviously, based off religious, principles and things like that. I know you guys wanted to have this fight a lot sooner. Obviously, maybe the Lomachenko side probably have their own kind of reasons, but hopefully that fight can probably maybe happen sometime in the springtime or maybe before summer is the goal.
Yeah, well, they made the announcement that it would be the date is May 20th, so we got time. You know what I mean? I'm pretty confident that it's gonna happen. Let's just wait and see. Of course, Devin and Top Rank, and they'll be making the announcement. You know what I mean? I'm just working and having fun.
And of course, with all the people anticipating, waiting on the fight with, Devin and things like that, do you feel like, because of the pound for pound rankings and stuff like that Lomachenko, I know that if he would win the fight, he would get a lot of praise, but if Devin would beat Lomachenko, you think he'll get that same type of praise that they would give Lomachenko?
We definitely know that Lomachenko is the fighter that we know him to be. He's the fighter that everyone has described him on this side of the fence to be to them. We've heard Bob Arum on numerous times say that Lomachenko is the best thing since sliced bread, so to speak, being he's more like a Muhammad Ali type fighter and all that. So if he's anything similar to Ali, we know that Ali was never defined by 1 or 2 losses. So we take Mr. Lomachenko and Team Lomachenko very, very, very serious. We're not playing with them or nobody else in the 135-pound division.
I think what makes, not just being undisputed important, but the people that you fight and the fact that you guys acquired the undisputed title, defended the undisputed title, and continue to look for the names instead of just, a lot of guys could manipulate or, put themselves in position to avoid certain fights. There's a hit list that still exists even with having all the belts. How important is that just to not just maintain that level of complacency?
Well, it's important to us to not only have a hit list of fighters that you want to fight, but to also be on the hit list, right? Of fighters that want to fight you, that the community, the boxing community and casuals want to see you fight against. The fans, they pay the checks, they write the checks, you know what I mean? No matter how much promoters or networks tend to think that they're in charge, it's the fans that are in charge. And, for us, it means everything. It means fighting for them against who they feel is the toughest task for Devin.
And obviously, when it comes to greatness, there's always going to be a lot of criticism, with some people,
Absolutely.
And maybe I could be, not in this case, but, older, some people will go oh, this generation's not like this, or the Gen Zs are not like the millennials or stuff like that. I've heard, some people mention that this generation or Devin is not the same as how old school fighters would be or stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'm a real OG, so the OG is for other generations. So I happen to represent that age bracket of understanding, kind of what we ahead of our ancestors, our ancestors, the generation before us was trying to help where we could go to schools and we could compete, so to speak. That's the correct way of putting it. Our elders fought for a right for us to compete. Now, we went to schools, we integrated within, society. Now we're competing, and sometimes we're getting resistance from people of our own race, of our own kind, not giving us the full grams for how far we done came.
And I know one of those people who kind of had some criticism was Bernard Hopkins, and he made these statements kind of saying, like the differences of generations. Do you think that's just like an old timer thing, or do you feel like it's a disconnect?
No, absolutely. We have guys that's part of the other generation, if some want to say, so to speak, the older generation, that have a hard time actually giving these kids their props. You know what I mean? Like I said, our parents had to work to get us in schools, to get us integrated. Then we had to work to get our kids confident in that integration. And then through that, there's been some kids that have obviously triumphed or obviously, benefited by all the hard work that our dads and mothers and grandmothers have did. And then you have some guys that, constantly go against the right thing to say and the right thing to do out of protection for their job. And I really believe that Bernard Hopkins has lost touch with reality and what's real and what is his job to do. It's just really sad that Bernard Hopkins will have not good things to say about young kids like Devin that don't drink, don't smoke, eat right, make weight, that are world champions, that are similar to him, but I thought they were similar to him. But actually, Bernard is nothing like Devin. Devin is a better fighter than him, overall better person, better everything. And Bernard, when you were 23, you were in jail for being a cat burglar, a petty thief at 23. Dev ain't been to jail. He don't smoke, he don't drink, he don't do nothing. And he's an undisputed champion at 23. And you was in the penitentiary. So what do you mean guys aren't like you? You weren't even like you until after. And you became a world champion at 30 years old. So what are you talking about, bro? And I don't remember you taking the executioner and making it a company. I don't think you made any dolls. I don't think you had any merch that I know of. So how successful can you be from everything that you did, homie? Devin, his next fight, he'll make more than you ever made in your life against Oscar De La Hoya. So at 23, and you were still in the penitentiary for armed robbery. So how can you be anything like my son? You are nothing like my son. And now I ain't gonna say you like me either. Because I was in jail at 23, Bernard, so lighten up, man. You see what I'm saying?
And just like, kind of rounding about, do you feel like, over time, just like they've done other fighters like, Ali and Floyd and stuff like that, that the criticism in their current prime probably won't be seen until like after they decide to kind of like retire or have like a reflection look back? Do you just feel like that's just a case of, greatness and great fighters always being compared?
Hey, listen, the man is Samuel Jackson from Django. You know what I mean? He had to fight. He won't tell the people, really, you had to fight. You had to get your money by being a part of the company. You got your money in stock. You didn't get your money and get paid and go on to start your own company. Champ. You got paid in stock. You ain't never really been like that. I wish they'd take the mic out of your face because you are not representing what it means to be a stand-up African-American dude that came out the penitentiary. You had your shot. You got a second chance at life. Devin is on his first chance. I'm on my second chance, but you too ignorant to recognize that because you ain't been in the penitentiary. You so far removed from the penitentiary that you done lost touch with reality. What we really supposed to be doing is uplifting these youngsters. We supposed to be in this boxing gym saying what they have done, because guess what? You made all the mistakes. So obviously, if they're not in the penitentiary, then they're doing more than you.
And just kind of just, I guess maybe I'm trying to be the peacekeeper in this, but would there be any opportunities, like let's say that a reflection on some of the comments that, he said, if he apologized?
Bernard don't make decisions. We don't care nothing about him. I went and talked to him and took him, Devin, and said, listen, do you know Devin, and, we can make the fights and all that. Man, the man looked at me like I was crazy. He acted like he didn't know. So I said, well, how could you be in a position that you're supposed to be, like I thought he was like a matchmaker or something like that, and found out the man ain't nothing but like a greeter, like Joe Louis was at the Silver Slipper. You know what I mean? You a greeter for Golden Boy. You don't have no signing power. You ain't signed nobody. You ain't did nothing for our community but sit up and down people. That's all you do, Bernard.
You know, and I guess because of the disconnect, and I feel like, you know, people probably might have started having a disconnect after maybe working with Oscar De La Hoya and things like that. Do you feel that that's possibly when all the disconnect kind of started happening, after he went from like a fighter to?
I don't know. I'm from Northern California, from East Oakland. You know what I'm saying? Some of my best friends, you know, were Mexican. My next door neighbor was Mexican, and we always knew that we had to work within the black and the brown together. You know what I mean? Whether it was his friends helping my friends or my friends helping his friends, that's what it meant. And I don't know where the disconnect became with Oscar. I mean, with Bernard, but he ain't helping nobody, and he always got something negative to say.
You know, and with just the topics that obviously your son's always going to be involved in the lightweight division or even the divisions around it, your son was able to do something that, you know, we coined the phrase "do to Devin." You know, I'm going to do what it needs to do. I'm going to go forget the contract, forget the rematch clause, forget being the A side, forget the person. Obviously, you guys have to do the things that's fair and what's right for yourself. But you guys took many people felt like a chance, or like took a less bargaining of that. And, you know, these other fights that are happening in division without the belts in line seem to have the contracts, you know, rematch clauses and things like that. I know this doesn't specify specifically, you know, in your thing, but just your thoughts on when it comes to trying to make the best fights. Do you feel like it should be that complicated when it comes to rematch clauses? Because you guys did it. Like, you guys said, we'll do it twice on your terms. And
you know what the A side stand for real?
What does it mean?
You think you're about to get your ass whipped. So guess what? You need everything possible, because this might be your last fight. A guy that's really running down on him, you know what I'm saying? Just think about it. When you're a young fighter, you got to do everything to get the opponent in to get developed. You have to pay him to seduce him to come in. As you get better and better and better, nothing changes. But then what I've seen traditionally is someone look over and say, I don't know about that. Yeah, Devin ain't at that point in his career.
You know, and obviously these are other fights that, you know, that's on your guys' hit lists and stuff like that. Clearly, you guys have done what you guys needed to do, get all the titles, and prove to yourself and the other people that, you know, you guys are the top dog in this weight class. You know, if it comes to negotiating with those guys or other people, you know, is that something that, you know, you guys are willing to?
Listen, I'll negotiate with anybody, you know what I'm saying, to do a good job for my son. If that meant talking to Bernard, if it meant talking to Oscar, if it meant talking to Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, whoever, nothing personal. You know what I'm saying? I've never said anything bad about these fighters in these divisions. Have you ever heard me say anything bad about a fighter?
I mean, you know, maybe to promote a fight and having
fun,
but nothing.
No, what do you remember? Something that stands out. What do you remember me saying?
I mean, just like, you know, Devin's gonna beat obviously everyone.
So is that saying something bad about a fighter, or is that saying something good about Devin?
Just something good about your son.
Yeah, that's all. I don't say nothing bad about no fighters. I don't say nothing. I say something's good about Devin. I'm confident about Devin, but I don't say what the old generation is doing versus what the young generation is doing, unless, and when they start talking about that money, right, or start talking about what we ain't doing. Bernard, was undisputed in the 4-belt era, right? Devin is undisputed in the 4-belt era, but you don't, and he was undisputed, like I said, at 23, when you were still in the jail. When hopefully you had a poker protecting your ass, you know what I mean? We was defending belts in Australia. You know what I mean? So I don't know what you're talking about, man. These people be so twisted. You see what I'm saying? But the one thing that I am, and I told everybody, is you do some bullshit or say some bullshit about my son, I'm getting on your ass. I don't care who you are. You see what I'm saying? It was foul what he did. It's foul what he said. And I'm talking about Devin in particular. I'm not talking about none of the other fighters. fighters. If some of the other fighters got something to say about it, let them speak for themselves. I'm speaking about Dev. He got the same shit that you got. Your biggest accomplishment is being undisputed. He got that too. So, you know what I mean? What's all the fake ass talk for?
Do you think maybe potentially one day that you guys would be able to kind of, you know, sit down and obviously one day O'Brien and Devin fight will probably...
No. It's not personal. What I'm saying is it's not personal with Bernard. It's not personal with anybody like that. I'm saying is I'm just responding to what he's saying. That's all. You know what I mean? It would be just like me saying the fighters, and it's my opinion, it would be like me saying the fighters of yesteryear wasn't shit. Because they didn't have no money, they didn't have social media, they didn't have the distractions that young fighters have. You know what I mean? You see how you can look at it another way, and then people say, "Oh, Bill, you know what I'm saying?" So I don't say it. I don't say it. It's hard to compare the eras, but in my opinion, right, what Devin is doing, right, and what he's doing, like, he would fit in that era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He would fit in that era based on his style and all that. I'm not saying nothing bad about them dudes. You know what I mean? I look at a lot of shit and learn a lot of shit from them. And in this particular case, I learned what not to say about boxing and what's going on in the state of boxing.
And I think overall, just let great be great, and no need to compare. Because at the end of the day, you know, when it comes to boxing, you know, people is always going to have their opinions. But you guys have definitively shown that you guys have not just won a title, but got all the titles, and it's something to appreciate. You
know what I like, and I had previously liked about Bernard is that he made the mistakes that we make in the community, you know, as African Americans, and I know how hard it is to go into that penitentiary and come out and turn it around. For him to turn it around, I always gave him his props, and to live the life that he lived, I just don't know when he started, like, just downing other fighters, you know what I'm saying, other fighters, and this is what we work to. He was the one with 4 belts, so we wanted 4 belts just like him. He switched up the whole shit when he started working with Oscar. His whole purpose, his whole shit. So, I mean, it's hard for me to believe that the money is the motivation, right? It's hard for me to believe that the belts is the motivation. So which one does it appear to be with him? You see what I'm saying? Because you're not giving nobody their props that starting their own company before you. You're not giving them their props if they in a big fight before you. You're not giving them their props if they have more belts before you. So what do a person got to do, Bernard?
Do you feel like, and it's just the fact that obviously they're trying to make the fight with Gervonta, and you think they're trying to kind of minimize other people?
We don't got to do that, man. We don't got to do that in boxing. We don't got to do that. Dev already got the belts. He already got social media presence. It's a great fight. It's a great event. You know what I'm saying? To make happen, and I would think that Bernard would have the wherewithal, right, and he would have enough that he could be the mediator with us and our team, right, to make a fight happen outside of it saying it would be Oscar or Diaz or one of those, right? But it's not. He's not the media. He's not running around trying to mediate with the young brothers and talk and make the shit happen. He sit on there and always say some shit and down somebody, but he don't never do nothing and come and say, well, this is what you need to be doing, young brother. I seen this. Never, not one time. Did he ever say, man, the hook look good, did this look good, did that look good? Man, come on, man. If that ain't the most fraudulent shit ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. It's one thing to have an opinion, but not to kind of talk about the youth in that way. So,
man, listen, you young fighters, you young coaches, y'all doing a hell of a job. It's a hell of a rough time to even come up in anything, music, boxing, or anything. You guys keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing great, no matter what nobody say.
And then, of course, before I let you go on a positive talk, I know that you're doing something with the parents, sons and parents. I don't know specifically the name.
Oh, absolutely. I'm heavily involved with an organization called Parent2Partner.com, where we're helping parents have the tools necessary to go from a parent to a partner, similar to what me and Devin is doing, that I do with all my children, is I partner up in their dreams and not mine. Because the first rule is understanding that a kid is going to go longer, harder, faster, and be much more happier chasing their dreams than ours. So I partnered up with this organization, and I like what they represent. And, you know, I encourage everyone else to go out and follow parenttopartner.com. Should I tell them to follow me on TikTok too?
Yeah, I saw that. You were doing
man.
that. Like, just tell them
I know.
about it.
Listen, all right, I'm gonna tell you. The young people was happy I'm on TikTok, and you old heads is mad. I got a daughter that's 8, Arabella. I love her to death. She's doing the TikTok, so we do it together. She was the first one, told me, you know, to get on it. I watched her. So as a family, you know, I got the TikTok, Bill Haney _. We're doing the YouTube channel, Bill Haney. OnlyFans, Bill Haney. To get that exclusive content for $49 a month. Learn how we did everything on our own. And we did it with the opportunity to work with the biggest moguls and big wigs in boxing. For real, for real. Let's talk about it.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you.